So I recently did a challenge where I was trying to show more love to my family. And I was just trying to make family life more fun. I think it's really easy to get frustrated with family life or for it to feel kind of boring and monotonous. So I thought if I did this challenge, it would add some more spontaneity and some more intentionality into the way that I showed love to my husband and my kids. For my husband, I picked a chore that had been really bothering him. It was cleaning the pendant lights over our island, something that I had heard him mention several times as something that he wished somebody could get to or that he could get to. And it honestly only took 5 minutes. And then it was Valentine's Day, so I also happened to heart attack his truck. It's something that I've done in our relationship the whole time. I actually started doing it when we were dating, and so it's just kind of a fun tradition that I've done for Valentine's Day. And I made him breakfast. We get up really early at our house, and so I'm not very good about making breakfast and stuff like that, and so it was a special treat, and he really appreciated it. And then I also got him a special treat at the store, some Girl Scout cookies. It was really fun. I was going to the store with my kids, and they knew I was doing this special week for my husband, and then we spotted the Girl Scouts out in front of Walmart, and I happened to have some cash, which I never have cash on hand. And so it was just really fun to involve my kids and be like, hey, we're gonna pick these out for Dad, so let's make sure we get Dad's favorite cookies. And then he was really appreciative when we came home and gave him the cookies. And then I have 5 kids, ranging from teenagers down to a 7-year-old. And so I tried to have each kid have their own individual week where I would do something special for them. I'd try to spend like the whole week doing different special things for them. But basically I followed the same pattern. So I did basically the same things for each kid. So one day I would make their bed and leave them a little note. And then the next day I would heart attack their door, and on the hearts I would write different attributes of theirs that were really special and I admired. And then I would get them their favorite treat, go and pick up their favorite treat. And if for the girls, I would buy them flowers they could put in their room. And then I would end the week by taking them on a one-on-one date, just me and the kid going out to lunch and, doing something that we needed to do. So it was really special doing this. One thing that was difficult was, since I have 5 kids, it's really difficult because they all want it to be equal. They all want you to do the exact same things that they saw that I was doing for other kids. My kids, they really wanted it to be like showy stuff, really out of the ordinary. And so it's different because they had specific standards of what they thought was appropriate for the week. And it's difficult when you have more than one kid. They're going to always be comparing themselves with the other kids. But there were some really special moments. So something that was really surprising to me was those little hearts that I would put on their door. I didn't think much of it. It didn't take a super long time. I just cut out some hearts and wrote some nice traits of theirs. And I was so surprised because every single one of my kids kept those hearts. Actually, all my kids hung them up in their closets. And I was just taken aback because I just thought, wow, that was not difficult, and I didn't really think this was going to be impactful, and they loved it. And it just goes to show you that people are hungry for compliments. They want to hear the things that they're good at. And I think our Savior, Jesus Christ, is really good at that. He's really good at making people feel loved and helping people know what their strengths are. So it's important to show that to your kids as well. And the other thought that I had was I would take my kids on these dates on a Saturday. We'd go out to lunch and, maybe run some errands. And it really made me stop and think about, when your kids move away, that oftentimes when they come back, you kind of clear your schedule and do things out of the ordinary to show how glad you are that they're there, and try and spend special one-on-one time with them because you don't get to see them that often. And I just thought, we really don't have to wait, and we shouldn't be waiting until they move away to spend these really special times with them. And it means a lot. I think about my husband. We try to work on our relationship. We try to go out to dinner several times a month. And your kids deserve the same kind of love. They don't have somebody who's one-on-one connected to them like your spouse is. And so all they have is their mom and their dad. And so it's really important that you take time out of your schedule to show them how important they are to you and how much they mean to you. And it makes a big difference. And it was really cool. I was thinking about these dates. I've actually been doing this for the last several months. And I was looking back through some of my old goals that I had made several years ago. And a goal I have often had is that I wanted to be better at spending one-on-one time with my kids. And I was just realizing that this habit that I've started, where I've started taking a kid to lunch, is a fulfillment of that. I'm actually making that happen, and I'm so grateful. And maybe it seems like an expense. I mean, there's a lot of ways you can make it where it can be less expensive. I've even done it where I've shared a meal with a kid before, or just done ice cream, or just gone to get a drink, just something small. But it just has to be something out of the ordinary so they can say, hey, this is my parent showing one-on-one attention to me and showing me that they care about me and they just want to spend time with me. And we would always have great conversations. I loved the conversations we'd have over lunch with my kids. It was a hard challenge. If I were ever to do this again, I would definitely space it out and not do all of the weeks one right after the other, because it was just a lot. And sometimes you just run out of time and you're not able to get all of the things done. So sometimes it would be somebody else's week and I would still be trying to catch up from the week before. But that is just something that I learned. We think we just have these certain windows when we're allowed to do something. You have to do something special for their birthday, or you have to go all out for Valentine's Day. And then if you don't, then you missed your chance. But that is not how families work, is it? You always have another chance to show love. You always have another chance to show that somebody's important to you. So don't buy into the lie that you have to do it on the holiday. You have to do it on their birthday. You have the whole year. And so even if you mess up and you forget and you don't do perfect, try again the next week. And I also just learned that humans, that we're going to compare ourselves with each other. But don't let that stop you from showing love to each child. And yes, it feels like a lot. And yes, it is a lot, especially if you have multiple children. I have 5 kids, right? It's difficult to do. But everybody deserves love. They deserve to feel like they're important, like they're valued. If you're not going out of your way to show them, it's difficult for people to know how you feel about them. The other thing that was super cool was that it actually made me love my kids more. It made parenting more enjoyable. It was super surprising to me because at the beginning of this, I just thought, this is a lot and this is kind of stressful to have to do all of these little things. But when I was doing it, I found that the time I spent with my kids was stuff that was enjoyable. And what I was taking away was some of my own selfish time. And I was replacing it with spending time with other people. And that was such a good lesson to me because it made me realize that my life was fuller and richer. I was happier for doing these things. And of course, it's still important to take time for yourself. I'm not saying you should just completely stop worrying about yourself and self-care and all that stuff. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying small amounts of time of my own time to do these things for my kids or my spouse, and it made life better. One other challenge was that my boys didn't want to be videoed. And so I had kind of been doing this thing where I tried to make one video of each member of my family and kind of something we had done together or something like that. But my boys were camera shy and they weren't super interested in it, especially because they knew it was going to be posted on the internet. That's something that has always held me back before with like sharing what I'm doing with my family, is I'm a very sincere person. So it's really difficult for me to like film things. I also just feel like family time is so sacred. It's such a special, like the most meaningful part of your life. And so it's really hard to like put a camera in somebody's face, you know, because like I really am doing this for like sincere reasons, not just trying to put something out in the internet. And so I really wanted to like honor and respect that with my kids, where I felt like, hey, if you don't want to do this, like it's fine. And not just, are you doing this for the YouTube channel or something like that? What's most important is your real sincere relationships and not necessarily how it's documented or the pictures you take or anything like that. All of those are great, right? I'm glad I have those pictures. But the thing that actually matters is the time you spent together. So that's a wrap up of this challenge. I am hopeful to start some more challenges. I know something that I am going to try now that this is over is I want to memorize some scripture. I don't know that I'm necessarily going to document it here, but I might share some of those memorized scriptures with you later. And I'll leave some links down below to some of the previous challenges I've done. I think a lot of times when you see somebody doing a challenge, you just think, oh, this is awesome. They're going to do perfect, you know, for 30 days or however long the challenge is going to be. And that has not been my experience. And I think that is totally okay. I think that is how self-improvement happens in real time, is you don't do perfect, you try out new things, you learn things, And it's still worth it even if you don't do a perfect effort every single time. And that's something I feel really passionate about, is I feel like people have kind of made self-improvement into this thing where it's really specific and it's perfect effort every single time. And I think if you want to change and get better, you have to be okay with not doing it perfect every time. So be sure to check out some of those previous challenges I did, and I'll be back in my next video. I'm going to be talking about some new Easter traditions that we've started this year. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.